doesn't love a story with a good ending? I, for one, love stories where something starts out that seems unfortunate, something bad happens, but as a result of that unfortunate experience, something miraculous and amazing happens that we didn't see coming. Take, for example, the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Now, I would caution here normally and say, if you haven't seen, like spoiler alert, if you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life, you are welcome to leave the room right now, go home and watch it on Netflix because it's an amazing movie. So you have to watch it, it's a classic. But the story is a story of really what the meaning of life is. It follows the story of George Bailey, who was a small town guy who has big plans to travel the world, except when his father dies, he's left taking care of the family business, the building and loan, which is struggling to make keep its doors open and make ends meet. And when his uncle misplaces a very large bank deposit, $8,000, which was a lot of cheddar back in the day, okay? Everything starts unraveling, and George kind of spirals, and he is so distraught that he contemplates taking his own life until his guardian angel steps in and gives George a rare opportunity to see what the world would be like had he never been born. He gets to see the lives that he's touched, the people that he's helped, the world that he's helped change. And at the end, he realizes that there's something more important. He realizes there's nothing more important than love. When the entire town of Bedford Falls, you guys know it, our entire town of Bedford Falls comes to his aid, and he realizes he is the richest man in town. Now, while this story is fictional, there's plenty of other stories that we could look at that have kind of a similar structure, where something bad happens, but then something unexpected happens as a result of that in the end, something that we didn't see coming. There's the story of way back in Egypt, many, many moons ago, there is a Hebrew couple who has a baby boy, and they lived during a time when the king of Egypt had ordered that all the baby boys be killed. So in order to save their baby's life, they had to give it away. When the baby was going to get killed, the mother of the child decides to put it in a basket and set it on a river bank near where there's some Egyptian women hanging out in hopes that one of them will see the baby and save its life. And her plan worked. And the woman that saw the baby and saved it was none other than the king's daughter himself, who decides that she will raise the baby as her own in the palace right under the king's nose. That baby's name was Moses. And later on, years later, he grew up, he would become in the perfect position to lead hundreds of thousands of people out of slavery, including his own family. There's a story of Ruth. Ruth's husband dies. Terrible. She decides to stay with her mother-in-law, whose husband has also died. But this leads her on a journey to meet this very wealthy man who she ends up marrying. She remarries and has a son with. And that son is in the lineage of Jesus himself. How cool is that? All of these stories have something in common, where something tragic or unexpected happens, something seemingly unfortunate, but that turns into an incredible ending that we didn't see coming. I mean, Moses' parents had to give their child away. Can you imagine giving your baby away? Ruth's husband dies. Devastating. I've always told my husband that if he dies before me, I will not remarry. I'm just going to buy a big farm and rescue all of the dogs in the shelters and just live out my days there. That's what I'm going to do. And maybe Ruth had the same idea. She was like, I'm not going to remarry. But God had a different plan for her and led her on this journey and put her in the perfect position and put Moses in the perfect position in order to change history, in order to change and have an ending that we would never see coming. My mother-in-law was recently diagnosed with cancer for the second time. Only this time it was a more aggressive cancer. The good news about this seemingly terrible start to a story is that she was still going for scans from her first cancer. And that is how they spotted the second more aggressive cancer. Had she not been going for scans, and that was clear, but had she not been going to those scans, they wouldn't have been able to see that second cancer that early and treat it aggressively. Who knew that cancer could be a blessing? Who knew that Having that cancer the first time could have been the very thing that saved her life. How's that for an ending? We all have a story like this. Sometimes we just can't see it, but we get glimpses of it. We may not see it in its entirety, but we get glimpses of it. And don't miss the glimpses in your story. Sometimes the biggest blessings are just on the other side of tragedy, of loss, of heartbreak, but they're there. The blessings are there. Sometimes we just can't see them. Sometimes we just need a shift in perspective in order to see them clearly. But just know that God's always working on your story. It may not feel like it. Sometimes we don't feel it. We don't see it with our eyes. But He is always working behind the scenes, working out your story. So wherever you are in your journey, in your story of life, don't miss the unexpected blessings.